When it comes to Svartalfheim, base locations can be difficult to find, which is why I present top 25 best base locations on Svartalfheim. Coming at number 25, this can be found at 43.6 latitude and 48.4 longitude, then there it is on the map. Now this can be found pretty close to about the middle-ish of the map, right next to the redwoods. This is just a giant plateau with just some nice rocks and just super flat land, making for a pretty decent base spot. Now this is really meant for a much bigger tribe that's looking to take over a lot of land, or just build a giant castle with a just entire village, or even on a PvP server. I mean, it's really up to you. This video is sponsored by Mitra 9. Mitra 9 is a kava and kratom seltzer company which provides an alternative to alcohol. These drinks give you a high but without the impairment. They have a ton of great flavors, my favorite being tropical. Simply go to mitra9.com and use my code Outcasts and you will get 25% off your entire order. If you're looking for a great alternative to coffee or just a way to get you going in the morning, Mitra is definitely the way to go. Now, back to the video. Coming at number 24, this can be found at 94.4 latitude and 31.6 longitude. Then there it is on the map. And now this really isn't ranked anything from like best to worst or worst to best, but the ones I would say from 10 down to 1 are probably some of the best ones on this map. But either way, the majority of these ones are actually pretty decent. So here's this one. This one's meant for a smaller tribe looking to, I guess, build a little bit more hidden away. Now there isn't too much room in here, but again, for a small tribe, it's more than, enough room. But yeah, not a bad spot at all. Coming at number 23, this can be found at 3.1 latitude and 45.9 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this can be found over in the snow, and as you can see here with these entrances, there's about 3 different entrances on this, which does kind of make it a little bit of a downside for PvP, but as a PvE base, it is still a nice spot. Overall, you have a lot of open space to work with, pretty low ceilings, but you do have a giant gap right here, so yeah, for PvP, it's going to be an absolute pain to try to figure out how to defend this. So if you're on PvP, I would probably skip over this one. But it is a really cool little cave with just a nice opening, lots of really cool little areas, but it's not like insanely flat, so building in here is going to be a little bit tricky. Coming at number 22, this can be found at 96.7 latitude and 40.0 longitude. Then here it is on the map. Now this can be found pretty close to the volcanic kind of region of the map. This is just a tiny little plateau, for a small tribe to build. It's nothing too crazy, but I'm trying to just put a bunch of different types of areas on here. Some big spots, some medium spots, and then some pretty small spots too. This is one of the smaller spots. It does have a main ramp that goes up here, so you can easily live in here and actually get up and down from here, as this is a no-flyer map, which does make a lot of the higher up bases just kind of a bit of a pain to work with. But yeah, overall, not a bad spot at all. Coming at number 21, this can be found at 52.4 latitude and 23.0 longitude. Then here it is on the map. Now this is one of the bigger plateaus. I would say it's more of like a medium-sized plateau. And this one does have a ramp that goes straight up to it, which, is super nice for actually living here. It also has a giant tree on it, which is pretty cool. Now, there isn't too much room to work with, but this is just based off the spot where this is. You are surrounded by wood, you are surrounded by metal, and then you have the swamp right under you. So overall, it makes for a pretty good spot. Coming at number 20, this can be found at 12.6 latitude and 30.3 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this is just a giant plateau in the snow. It's kind of just in the middle of the land, but it's super flat, making for a pretty good spot for an absolutely massive vase to fit. Coming at number 19, this can be found at 64.1 latitude and 64.1 longitude. That's interesting. Anyways, this can be found on top of one of the floating islands. Now these floating islands can be accessed by those ports right there that you just saw. It's that little square box, and they can be found on the ground, and you can easily just teleport up and down to these spots. They do make for pretty good base locations though. They're just not super big, so they're a little tricky to build on. Coming at number 18, this can be found at 22.7 latitude and 35.8 longitude. Now this can be found over in the snow, and this is just the giant floating island for this region. Now this one is the biggest one. It is much bigger, and it is completely flat. Other than that lake, it's a little bit hard to work with, but it's just insanely flat, lots of room, and again, it is another one of the teleporter ones, so yeah, pretty good base spot. Coming at number 17, this can be found at 97.9 latitude and 49.0 longitude. Then here it is on the map. Now this is another pretty decent flat plateau. As you can see here, I took away all the trees and rocks just to kind of show you it, because it's kind of invisible when all the trees are still up, but it is a pretty big base location. So yeah, it makes for a really good spot, and it's on the side of the map. Coming at number 16, this can be found at 10.8 latitude and 43.0 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this can be found over in the snow, and this is just a little wyvern trench opening just without the wyverns, so it's kind of cool. But you have a lot of flat room in here, some little ice pillars which do kind of get in the way, and you do have 2 little kind of entrances in here. So for PvP, I would not recommend living here, but on the PvP side of things, it is a pretty good spot. Coming at number 15, this can be found at 15.2 latitude and 44.9 longitude, and then there it is on the map. Now this is one of the giant plateaus. I guess it's kind of like an obsidian plateau or like an oil plateau because there's an oil vein on it too. Now this can't be accessed by flyers, meaning that this spot on PvP would actually be pretty overpowered. It does have a little bridge to kind of walk you over there, but even that bridge is a little bit thin and you kind of have to like jump to the other one. But yeah, overall it does make for a honestly pretty decent PvP spot. Coming at number 14, this can be found at 78.9 latitude and 7.2 longitude, and then there it is on the map. Now this is again one of the giant floating islands, again which can be accessed by those little ports. Simply just go over there, walk in it, and it'll teleport you straight up to here. This is one of the smaller ones though, and it is a little bit awkward to build on, so I would recommend this for a smaller or like a medium-sized tribe, but it is still a pretty good base location. Coming at number 13, this can be found at 54.5 latitude and 35.0 longitude. Then again, there it is on the map. Now this is one of the larger plateaus, and this is again pretty invisible until you have to get rid of all the trees. As you can see, you have quite a bit of room to work with, and this is just like the peak on this entire lake. So for a PvP side of things, this is an amazing base spot. You can build just a giant castle on here and really just show off to all your friends. But yeah, overall, probably one of the best spots on this map. Coming at number 12, this can be found at 63.7 latitude and 34.7 longitude. Then here it is on the map. Now this is the small village that's just located, I guess, just kind of in the middle of the map. It's pretty close to that last spot. Now this one is pretty cool though. You are actually able to place everything down inside of here as if these things were basically just like foundations. So you can put a smithy down, a bed down, you know, all that kind of good stuff. So you can actually live inside of these, which is actually pretty cool. And it makes for a nice little kind of, I guess, just roleplay base, I guess. But yeah, overall, really cool spot. Coming at number 11, this can be found at 8.8 latitude and 83.7 longitude, and then here it is on the map. Now this is just a little island. It's technically an island, but it's still kind of connected to the land. But it's just a nice little island that's kind of away from everything, and it's sitting right on the water's edge. Has a little bit of like an abandoned kind of ruins base on it, as well as just a pretty good amount of flat land. Now the trees don't really show this spot off as well as it should, so I turned off the foliage, I think, right here. So yeah, you're able to see it a lot more. It's a pretty big spot, and overall does make for a pretty amazing base spot. Coming at number 10, this can be found at 13.1 latitude and 98.0 longitude. Then here it is on the map. Now this is again another little island, except this one is truly an island. It's pretty far away from everything, and it's not too crazy. I mean, it's really nothing too wild. It's not that big, but it's also not that small. You have a giant tree on the island as well. I think it is harvestable as well, so you can get rid of that and then build your base in the middle. But overall, it is a nice little kind of wyvern style little island to work with. Coming at number 9, this can be found at 85.9 latitude and 23.1 longitude. Then here it is on the map. Now this is one of the main castles that are actually like ready to build in. I do like this one quite a bit. Only downside is that it's not that big, so you're not able to fit a ton of stuff in here. But it is completely buildable, meaning that you can put down smithies, you can put down vaults, all kinds of stuff in here with no need of a foundation. There's tons of different rooms to work with. It's all built to a player's height and player's standards. So it is a nice overall base for PvE. PvP side of things, not so much. But again, it's really just a really kind of cool little roleplay base for you to work with. But it's just not that big, which is kind of a bit of a downside, and you can't fit like anti-forges or anything in here. But still, overall, really cool spot. Coming at number 8, this can be found at 61.6 latitude and 38.9 longitude, and then there it is on the map. Now this can be found over here on the kind of middle giant mountain. I guess it's like the gold mountain or whatever. Now I don't know if this is going to be turned into a wyvern scar or anything. I don't think it's going to be, because I feel like he would have already done that. Actually, I think about it now, there's no flyers, so no, it's not going to be. But overall, pretty good base and a lot of room to work with. Coming at number 7, this can be found at 91.5 latitude and 5.3 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this is again one of the nice little snow castle things that is located out in the snow. This has a ton of space to work with, but there's a bunch of just little homes in here. So yeah, that can be used to your advantage, but you can't really build too much in here. So if you're looking for a nice little spot that you can just have a bunch of just tribe members all build their own like kind of little bases, this is definitely the one for you. In my opinion, it's the best layout. Only problem is that it's built in the snow, so with the cold being there, it is kind of a bit of a pain to work with, but other than that, it is a super cool spot. Coming at number 6, this can be found at 84.9 latitude and 94.4 longitude. Then here it is on the map. This can be found underwater, and this cave is more of like a cave from, I want to say Genesis Part 1, I believe. just with these like screen tech cave entrances, which are kind of cool. Now this cave is one for building. It is a nice size. You have a lot of room to work with. Some nice little water features in here as well, and a good amount of flat room. It's just a little bit awkward because you just have a lot of stuff going on and a lot of pillars. Other than that, pretty good underwater cave. Coming at number 5, this can be found at 11.5 latitude and 10.3 longitude. And then here it is on the map. Now this is probably one of the biggest caves on this map, and is one of my favorites. I would say this is the third biggest cave. There are 2 other ones that are bigger than this, and this one is absolutely massive. But yeah, here's your entrance. Nice little iceberg entrance. I went ahead and sped this section up. It's just a giant path. Then it opens up into your first room. Now, this first room does span quite a lot. I mean, you have a lot of room to work with in here, but you also are building in the snow, so it's going to be pretty cold in here. So yeah, this is your first room again. Now you do have a false door over here. It looks like it just ends here, but if you look right here on the right, it actually does keep going. It actually kind of tricked me for a second, but yeah, it does keep going over here on the right, and you can get straight behind that door, which does keep going down into the cave further and further and further. Now, there's 2 different ways to go. That way on the left doesn't really seem to open up into anything too crazy, so I went right. Now this right section has a little bit of some parkour. Never mind, I thought that I went right. Turns out I didn't, my bad. But yeah, it opens up into this other room, which I'm going to skip this and just skip right to it. Nothing too crazy in here, just a nice little extra room, I guess. Coming at number 4, this can be found at 91.0 latitude and 45.1 longitude. Then there it is on the map. Now this can be found over here in these tall trees. It is pretty hard to find this cave entrance, but just kind of follow this main pathway and it'll lead you straight to the cave. But yeah, went ahead and sped this up. Just way too much of just walking in here, and that would have just been way too much time. But yeah, here is your main area. It is a nice little water area, so again, it is similar to Carno Cave on the island, but does open up into a much bigger area. So as you can see, here's your first room. Nothing too crazy, but it has a lot of really cool little like man-made structures in here. And then this little guy holding I guess a wyvern egg, or just like a special egg or something, as well as your main artifact right there. Now this does actually keep going right back here with this little mine cart. Opens up into this, I guess, just abandoned little mine shaft kind of area. It is pretty cool, but from what I've seen, there's nothing really else in here. Just some extra room to, I guess, build with. Coming at number 3, this can be found at 90.5 latitude and 8.5 longitude. And there it is on the map. Now this can be found over in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, and then here is your cave entrance. Pretty easy one to spot, but still is a little bit hidden, so make sure just to keep an eye out for it. But yeah, this cave is one of the better caves on this list. It opens up into a pretty massive cave, and the majority of this is all just flat land, meaning for PvP, it is an amazing cave. For PvE, it's also a pretty decent cave as well if you're looking to build on just a nice colder environment. But yeah, overall, it is one of the best caves on this list. Coming at number 2, this can be found at 78.3 latitude and 9.6 longitude. And then there it is on the map. Now this is one of your really cool caves. This one goes and just spirals all the way down. By the way, you really can't miss that entrance. It's pretty big. So sorry if I kind of cut around it. I had to use this without the camera mode, so I accidentally cut it. But yeah, here's your main area. Absolutely insanely massive spot. I guess it's okay for PvP, but for PvE, this is a phenomenal spot. Just have all of this man-made stuff, all these bridges, all this just crazy stuff in this cave. And it does also keep going. I just decided to only show the really big portion of this. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal cave. And finally, coming at number 1, this can be found at 18.2 latitude and 59.3 longitude. And here it is on the map. Now this is the really big popular cave. A lot of you guys who have played this map should know where this thing is. This is just the giant fortress cave, whatever you really want to call it. Absolutely insane. You have all of this really cool stuff. It's very similar to that last one, not as big. Now, I like it more. It's just cooler, and it also goes super deep down in here. Now, I didn't explore it too much, I just wanted to just kind of put a bunch of different caves in this video, and I also don't want to show off the entirety of it, so you guys can also have a little bit more fun exploring it. But yeah, this one does open up into this just giant massive room right here with a good amount of room to work with. Again, in my opinion, that last cave was cooler, but based off of just where this spot is, what it is, what's inside of it, this spot has to be number 1. But anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Don't forget to leave a like if you're new and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to go check out Mitra9 and use my code OUTCASTS for 25% off. Thanks for watching.